video game industry at one point was the pinnacle of innovation and technological advancement. Incredible games like Jak 2, that wasn't just an ordinary game. You see, the first Jak, the precursor legacy, the first Jak was one of the most innovative three-dimensional platformers of all time, right up there with Crash and Spyro. Incredible platforming, design, some of the best linear gameplay, amazing three-dimensional platforming, action puzzle game. But what happens when you take a three-dimensional linear platformer and you make it open-ended, give it aspects of open-world design, and expand on that? Then, when it comes to the action of this action three-dimensional platformer, let's give you a bunch of guns and weapons and use those platform mechanics to expand on using those guns and weapons. This is a linear game from the PS2 and it has side quests, a city, cars to roam, explore, guns, weapons. It's genius. This is Jak 2. That's why it's one of the greatest games of all time. It is absolutely brilliant. They do not make games like this anymore. They don't care. Instead, they want to sell you a PlayStation 5 for $780 freaking dollars, and they're going to sell you that nonsense, and it can't even get to 60 frames. Jak got to 60 frames on PS2. Kingdom Hearts got to 60 frames. Kingdom Hearts 2 was at 60 frames. Call of Duty got to 60 frames on the freaking PS3, dude. A bunch of dudes at Activision figured out how to get a realistic shooter like Call of Duty, because at the time it was realistic, at 60 frames. Yes, it's an arcadey, twitchy shooter. I know it's not realistic like Battlefield, but who cares? The point is, Call of Duty, back when it was more realistic, was at 60 FPS, and you want me to spend almost the same amount of money that you would spend on a PC, because there's custom PCs between $400 to $600 that can easily get it to 60 frames. There are laptops, cheap-ass low-end PCs and laptops that can get games to 60 frames. A PS2 can play probably Star Wars Battlefront 1 at 60 frames. And you're telling me that you can't get a PlayStation 5 game at 60 frames? Or we don't want to be backwards compatible. When you're pirating, you're just stealing. You ever heard this lame-ass Karen Doofenshmirtz fool say such nonsense? But then they want to charge you $20 for the new Pokemon Fire Red remake. They want to charge you $780 for a new PS5. They want to charge you $80 for an entire game. They want to have games like Destiny 2. I went through this myself. I spent $160. No, $180 on Destiny and all its DLCs. After paying all that money, they're like, oh, great. Thanks. Let's remove all those DLCs. Goodbye, Warmind. Goodbye, Red War. And goodbye, Curse of Osiris. I paid for that, and they removed that. Guess what? No refund. I'm supposed to just buy their new DLCs. Oh, don't worry. We went free to play. But you have to buy the new DLCs to enjoy all the content. Oh, my God. If people don't get their head out of their ass when they defend this kind of behavior, saying that gamers are just generic 40-year-old basement dwellers who just want to scream all day, yo, get out of Reddit, get off Tumblr, get off, and, stop trying to act like somehow you have some moral high ground because you've never pirated some DS emulator in your life. You're a clown. It's so foolish. This kind of behavior is unacceptable. You companies are greedy. You companies are the reason why we pirate games. I shouldn't have to spend $40 for Red Dead Redemption 1. The game is from 2010. You could just go to GameStop and get that used for $15. You can go on Amazon and get that for $10. You could probably get a cheap PC key for even less on other websites. It's unacceptable. You guys are too greedy. All you care about is, then they want to spam every genre with the same kind of game. Oh, remember how Overwatch made money? Great, let's make every shooter like Overwatch. Oh, what about Overwatch this, Overwatch that? Let's make an Overwatch clone. Everything has to be a heroic-based shooter. Everything's got to be like Apex Legends. Why do you keep trying to copy Overwatch? Bro, you used to be the trendsetter. Now you're just copying trends. Everything has to be Battle Royale. Everything has to be Overwatch. And everything has to be open world. What happened to great linear games? Look at the new Mafia. It's a badass linear third-person shooter. I'm like, that's badass. That's cool. No, that's not like Mafia. Mafia was open world. Okay. Everything doesn't have to be freaking open world, dude. It's so clownish. That's all they want to do. Look at Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's open world and it's absolute shite. All they do is just flood the map with a bunch of pointless shit you don't want to do anyway. Lame. What happened to linear action games? Those used to be really cool. Everything has to be open world. Sometimes open world is too much space. Right. There's just too much space. You don't have to spam everything with the same thing. You don't have to finesse the consumer at every turn. I am not paying $780 for something that isn't even backwards compatible with the PS3, PS2, or PS1. But it is with the PS4. Oh, wow, big whoop. Only with the PS4 and that's it? What? So you're not even going to offer old PS3 games and PS2 and 1 and all those old games for a reasonable price. If I want to buy an old Atari game, I should be spending like $5-10 or whatever. If I want to buy a DS or Game Boy game, it should be $5-10. A lot of those go for less than $10. Yeah, a GBA game. Why am I paying $20 on the Switch 2 for a Game Boy game? $20 should be a used, like a brand new, fresh PS2 game, $20. Yes, that's more reasonable. If you actually had more reasonable prices for PS2 games, I would be giving you all of my money. But I'm not giving you a single cent if this is how you're going to treat us. Instead, guess what? I'm going to hit up pirate a gaming website, and I'm going to pirate everything you got. Because of what you do. Yeah, sometimes even the latest games. Yeah, just to see if it's good before we waste our money. Yeah. Since you want to treat us like garbage, treat consumers like they're a joke, become greedier and greedier, ruin games more. All you care about is graphics, microtransactions, and further finessing people. Why are you spending $780 for a PS5 Pro? Instead of just, at that point, you might as well buy a PC. It's almost the same price as a normal PC. You can get a low-end PC for less, around $400 to $600. You can build your own. So if you get a $600 low to mid-end PC, you can do far more. You can get any emulator you want for free. Almost any game, all the way from the PS1, Atari, all the way to the X360, PS3. They even have a PS4 and 5 emulator. So if you have a better PC, you can play those too for free. Yeah, I'm gonna pirate all of your shit if you're going to mistreat us and treat us like garbage. You treat us like absolute trash. You have no respect for the medium, no respect for the craft. And you companies, you greedy ass companies like Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard, a lot of you guys, including you, Nintendo, trying to sue people for the stupidest reasons. And Sony, you have completely fallen from grace. You are greedy as hell. You companies are the reason why we pirate. I don't want to hear your cheap, weak ass, docile bullshit. Oh, well, that's not right. That's not right. My butt. Ow. Listen, can you take a look at my butt cheeks? Because it hurts. Can you take a kiss of my boo-boo? Can you kiss my boo-boo? I don't want to hear that nonsense. You want to pull some more high ground garbage when you're finessing so many people more than you ever have, and you're about to finesse your way to a new video game collapse. Kingdom Hearts 2 has some of the best combat mechanics in video game history. PS2 game, barely even that much space. Most of your games require over 100 fucking gigabytes for some boring, overly realistic slop that you'll put down about a week. I still play my PS2 games. I had tons of new games. And I got it. A lot of them I even got for free. Some I actually bought, like Ultra Kill. You've earned my money. You indie devs deserve the money. They're charging you reasonable price. Sometimes the game's like $20, $40. Ultra Kill is only $20. New game. It's only around a gigabyte. At one point when it launched, it was less than a gigabyte. Tons of content. Amazing gameplay mechanics. Excellent shooter mechanics. They turned the first-person shooter into a combat system inspired by Devil May Cry. Hakita's just a genius. But just keep it simple, he's a fucking genius. That's incredible. Okay? We don't get games like that. It's funny. Now it's us, the little guy. Now we're outdoing you. Hell, it's even happening with Hollywood with stuff like AIC Dance 2.0. But it's already been happening with games for like almost a decade at this point. It's been happening for years, but it's booming like never before. These indie games are getting crazier. This is one where you get to shoot dinosaurs on an island. Voice acting's a little choppy, but the gameplay design is genius. It goes on and on. Ultra Kill, and so on and so forth. Looks like the little guy, the AA developers are really kicking your ass right now. And if you just show some kind of respect, give us reasonable prices, stop being so greedy, that wouldn't happen to you. But since it is, You're going to get your ass beat by the everyday average man, and they're going to beat you in sales, which they actually are. These indie games are beating these newest releases on sales. And we're going to just pirate your shit. And most of what I pirate, guess what, isn't even your new lame-ass slop games. You won't provide me with a reasonable price for old games. So the PS2 disc could get fucked up and you're screwed. If you go online, games like Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on Amazon goes for over $200. There's times where the price gets that high, yes. Same with Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2. Those games are so beloved, they go for over $200. In the year 2021, I looked that up. It was still over $200. In the year 2024, I looked at Budokai Tenkaichi 3 once again. $200. You have to wait for a price drop. Good luck with that. Even after a price drop, sometimes it's $50, $60 for a PS2 disc that might snap the same week. Are you serious? That is why I pirate. I just want to play the PS2, PS1, Game Boy. I want to play the old shit, PSP and shit. I don't want to play your new games. Your new games suck balls. They're awful. They have terrible gameplay design. They spam the same stuff. They're really, really greedy. They're destroying the passion that made those games work. And that's the issue, bro. So in the comment section, let me know. Am I the only one feeling this way? Because I've been hearing you guys. I've been seeing a lot of videos, and more people are bringing this up, and that's what made me want to say this, because I'm like, bro, I knew I wasn't the only one. Stick to your PS2s, people. I believe you were morally justified in pirating because of just how greedy and evil these companies have become. And I don't care. I don't even care if you pirate the newest game. I mainly pirate old games that you could have provided for a cheap price, but you don't want to make PS5s backwards compatible. We don't want to do it. So, yeah. Anywho, that's basically it.